I helped my dad puncture our nemesis's car tires, but I accidentally drove a nail into a stranger's Maserati, and I thought I'd have to pay until I was broke, only to find out the owner was the son of my dad's archenemy. He didn't make me pay. He actually offered to take me to puncture his dad's car tires. Even added me on WeChat and said he'd give me a ride home. But the moment I walked in the door, I ran into both families' parents arguing. Only then did I realize this business feud was far more ridiculous than I imagined. It was New Year's, and my dad's beard even went crooked when he saw our rival's warehouse had sold 2 more station wagons than ours. He left a nasty review in their comment section and still wasn't satisfied. After sending a sour little congratulation, he posted a passive-aggressive remark, then turned to me and said, "Belle, want to see what real corporate warfare looks like?" I thought for a moment and said, "Outmaneuver them from the war room?" My dad gave an awkward smile. I knew something was off. The highest level business battles often boil down to the simplest moves. My dad said, "Cut off their funds until the company can't run. Oh, cut the power during the day. Slash tires at night. Dad, poach their star CEO. Offer big money to steal their engineers. Poach their janitors." He gave me a proud thumbs up. "That's my daughter." Me. Is this even corporate warfare? My dad rolled his eyes and let me think about it. "Don't tell me this isn't war. Weren't Coca-Cola and Pepsi's battles just them sniping at each other's bottles in ads? This is covert ops," he said. That actually sounded about right. "Then tonight's tire job goes to my precious daughter." Me? That casual? For the New Year's red envelope I threw on my pajamas and took a little nail out the door. After all, sabotaging for my dad was something I'd done since I was a kid. I used to stomp on the rival company's landscaping on purpose. My mum said my dad and Uncle Tony were inseparable as kids. They grew up and built businesses together from nothing, then split over differences in how to run things. Now their companies are the 2 biggest in City A, but the 2 men keep glaring at each other. Once my dad and I climbed over the wall to sneak photos at Uncle Tony's factory. The guards caught us and dumped a sack of flour on us. Dad wasn't having it. He went online at midnight and exposed Uncle Tony's factory for cutting corners. Uncle Tony responded by having someone cut our internet line. From time to time, they'd leave petty, sour comments in each other's sections. Stroll through the comments with a cup of plain water and you'd come out tasting like old vinegar. I shuffled into the underground garage in my slippers. It was already pitch dark. The garage was dim. Dad had told me Uncle Tony bought a flashy new car you could spot from across the lot. Seeing no one around, I went straight to the Maserati. "What a beautiful car, what a shame," I whispered, and quietly stuck the nail into the tire. For some reason I felt guilty. Blame my dad for making me do this. "If you're mad, Tony, blame my dad, he told me to do it." Just as I was about to leave, a handsome guy stepped out of the Maserati. He wore a baseball jacket, his features sharp and his skin pale. A light scent of gardenia floated by. He tilted his head watching me, and I had no idea what he was thinking. Who is this hottie? Then my brain pinged. Did I get the wrong car? He smiled and said, I think you got the wrong car. I felt like crying. This adorably sweet younger guy was totally my type. Why did I waste my one chance? I forced an embarrassed smile. Can I pay you for it? He didn't say anything, just looked at me, like he figured I couldn't afford it. Defeated, I called my clueless dad. Dad had cut off all my cards 2 weeks ago since I had no boyfriend. When the call connected, he sounded oddly pleased. Sweetheart, how's it going? Dad, there's a handsome guy in the garage. He went nuts. How old is he? Where's he from? Is he married? Did you get him? Could he be boyfriend material? A son-in-law? My voice on speaker was probably huge. My face burned like a monkey's butt. I sneaked to look at the puppy soft guy and noticed he was staring back. Maybe I imagined it. But he looked at me like he was fond of me, beautiful like someone in a painting. I quickly lowered my head and kept talking to hide my embarrassment. Dad, I hit the wrong car. I punctured someone's car. There was a beat of silence on the other end. It's fine, sweetheart. You did your best. If it comes to that, bring him home, and your old man will sort it out. I silently gave Dad a thumbs up. His car is a Maserati, I said, and the line went busy. Beep, beep. He hung up. Thumbs up revoked. Adult meltdowns last a second. I was about to lose it. I tried to message him and found he'd blocked me on WeChat. Hilarious, what a loving father. No choice. I turned to the handsome guy and apologized. I'm really sorry. Can I pay in installments? He smiled, stepped closer, and said, Okay. That smile melted me. I added, I'm Isabel. What's your name? I didn't mean to cozy up to him, but being called handsome guy over and over felt awkward. Jason, he said, leaning forward a bit. Only then did I realize I was standing in my cotton pajamas, mildly mortifying. Jason asked, Are you here to puncture Chairman Smith's car? I nodded. You too? Jason shrugged. I'll take you. There are a few groups out tonight. I happen to know which car is his. I figured if I finished the job, my dad might reimburse me. Grinning, I pulled the nail out of the tire and followed Jason to a Land Rover. This is his car. I was about to stick the nail in a random spot when I saw the two front tires were already full of nails. I told Jason with a smile, The front's full. I'll go to the back. Wait for me. At the rear, every tire was packed with nails too. With no choice left, I stuck my nail into the spare, snapped a photo for proof, and handed Jason another nail I pulled out. You're slashing his tires too? Here, take this nail. You're welcome. Jason glanced at me, the corner of his mouth twitching slightly, looking a little helpless. He said, Thanks. I patted him on the shoulder. Don't mention it, we're friends now. After he finished, I casually added him on WeChat. Suddenly I thought of something. By the way, how do you know this is his car? Jason said. It's my dad's car. Your dad? I froze on the spot like an idiot, completely disoriented. Why didn't he warn me earlier? I'd just slashed his car and his dad's. The embarrassment could kill me. Jason seemed to read my face. It's fine. His tires get slashed all the time. Then Uncle Tony's popularity might be not great. The words slipped out before I could stop myself, and I immediately realized it wasn't appropriate. Jason didn't seem to mind. He looked at the Land Rover full of nails and said, This car? My dad bought it specifically for people to slash the tires. On purpose. That rich. My poor brain couldn't even process that level of wealth. He caught my expression and added, Don't worry. Every car in this lot belongs to my dad. He doesn't mind. I looked at the rows of luxury cars to his left, my jaw dropping into a perfect O. No wonder Dad and Uncle Tony fell out my dad's, the stingy one. He owns a car but refuses to drive it, takes the subway to work, and even goes on live streams to sell his own products as the face of his brand. Meanwhile, Uncle Tony hires top influencers to promote his. Seeing it was getting late, I turned to say goodbye. I'll take you home, Jason said, tugging lightly on my puffer jacket. We had literally just met, and he was already this forward. My cheeks flushed red while he acted like nothing happened. Okay, I was too awkward to say a word the entire way. Jason did all the talking. When we finally parted, Jason asked why I hadn't said anything. I wanted to, but after slashing his family's cars, I was too guilty. Stupid dad. I'll pay you back. And your uncle too, Jason smiled. That's it? Just He countered. What else do you want, sis? You've been quiet this whole time. I thought maybe you didn't like me. That sudden sis made my ears burn. He looked faintly disappointed, and that tiny mole by his eye made him look heartbreakingly sweet. Before I could reply, Jason pulled me into his arms, wrapping me inside his baseball jacket. The crisp scent of gardenia surrounded me. My mind went completely blank, hearing only his heartbeat thudding against my ear. I snapped out of it and pushed him away. There was a car passing by. I didn't want the water to splash on you. I looked down at the muddy streaks on his jacket, realizing how bad it must have been. I thanked him softly. As I stepped through the gate, I heard voices, 2 men arguing. It was Dad and Uncle Tony. Again. John, why the hell are you stealing my Spring Festival couplets? Not stealing yours are just too ugly. I brought you a new one. Dad pulled out a red scroll of hand-brushed calligraphy and handed it over. The crooked writing read, "May the years grow and the people grow fat. May spring fill the world and pigs fill the house." Wasn't that the one Dad made me write for fun? To ward off evil spirits. I was just about to hang it on your door. Who told you to come home so early? The 2 of them kept bickering, oblivious to my presence. Just then, a stunning woman in a Chanel-style suit walked in, long wavy hair, red lips, curves that could kill. She looked me up and down. "You must be Belle. You've grown so much. Even prettier than in your photos." Then she pinched my cheek affectionately. I smiled awkwardly. "You've seen me before, miss." Mom rushed over at the sound, pushed me aside, and hugged the woman excitedly. "Anna, you're back." Dad and Uncle Tony stood off to the sides with crossed arms, glaring at each other. When the timing felt right, I tugged on Mom's sleeve. I whispered, "Mom, you know this lady?" Mom tapped my forehead. "That's your Aunt Anna. You called her wrong. Go on, say hello." "Hi, Auntie." Aunt Anna looked amazing. Didn't seem a day over 30. Hard to believe her son was already that grown. I'd heard Mom talk about her countless times, reminiscing about their close friendship. But Aunt Anna had been doing research overseas for years and hadn't come back until now. Childhood memories of her were long gone. "I came to bring you all some New Year's gifts and see how you've been," she said warmly, holding Mum's hand but sneaking glances at me the whole time. It was honestly unnerving. She chatted while telling Dad and Uncle Tony to help carry the boxes inside. Then she pulled a red envelope from her Hermes bag and handed it to me. "Your New Year's gift, Belle?" I hesitated until Mum nodded for me to take it. Inside was a bank card. The password? My birthday. "Thank you, Aunt Anna." "How did you know my birthday? Have you seen my photos?" She paused, smiled, and said, "Your mum told me." Mom opened her mouth, but was quickly pulled aside by Aunt Anna. They whispered for a while, and when they came back, both were looking at me strangely. Aunt Anna's visit made the house much livelier. She and Mum chatted on the couch while Dad and Uncle Tony just glared at each other. The matter finally ended when Aunt Anna took away the offending couplet I'd written. After they left, I immediately told Dad about the garage incident and showed him the photo proof. "Dad, mission accomplished. Can you reimburse me now?" "I can't afford a Maserati." He pouted silently, looking all sulky. I poured him tea, massaged his shoulders, and flattered him until he finally softened. He gave me a smug little smile. He pulled a black card from his wallet and handed it to me. "You're the best, sweetheart, Daddy's little angel." Not like Tony. All he's got is that stinky boy of his. Next time, you and I will team up and show them who's boss. The moment I heard Jason, I froze. I tried to subtly ask Dad about him, but the old man just kept ranting about Uncle Tony's ancient grudges. To save my ears, I quickly handed the battlefield over to Mum and went to my room. Lying on my beanbag, I took out Aunt Anna's bank card. The balance read 1,000,000. I counted the zeros. 1,000,000? Who gives New Year's money like that? Before I could make sense of it, a WeChat message popped up. It was Jason. "Sis, Are you still awake? I stared at the message, a tiny spark of joy fluttering inside me. I replied, "Nope." Then nothing for a long while. The typing bubble flickered endlessly. Thinking my phone froze, I messaged first. "How much do I owe you? I can pay now. I've got money." Jason didn't answer with words, but sent a meme, a little cartoon figure with its butt sticking out, holding a wallet and making a heart shape. The caption read, "I have money, but I'm saving it for my wife." Then he quickly deleted it. "Oops, slipped. Sent the wrong sticker." Followed by a sweating emoji. "Sis, you're not mad, right?" "Mad? No. Just awkward." I sent a string of ha 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 and added, "My ex would have died laughing." There was a pause before he replied. "So you broke up?" "Half a year ago." "Why? Do you still love him?" "No reason. We broke up peacefully." "Then that guy's got no luck at all." Jason sent a peace sign emoji. For some reason, he felt a little flirty. Maybe I just don't get Gen Z anymore. To make up for the whole car thing, I offered to buy him dinner. After our chat, I immediately told my bestie Julia everything. She replied with a mischievous emoji. "Nice. You're into all age ranges now." Then she sent me a lady's guide to charm and told me to seize the opportunity. I brushed it off with a couple of emojis and went to sleep clutching my phone. I even dreamed about Jason. When I woke up, my face was burning. On the day we planned to meet, I dressed up to perfection, cute makeup, fresh outfit, a spritz of Chanel, and finally headed out. To my surprise, both my parents were waiting at the door like guards. "Belle, why are you so dolled up? Got a date?" "No, I'm just shopping with Julia." I don't know why, but I instinctively hid it from Dad. They both eyed me up and down suspiciously. "No way, something's up. Is it that handsome guy from the garage?" Dad squinted, laughter crinkling the corners of his eyes. I quickly looked to Mum for help and finally managed to escape. When I got to the restaurant, Jason was already outside waiting, holding a cup of milk tea for me. Smoothly, he took my bag and slung it over his shoulder. "You're dressed kinda light, won't you get cold?" he said, draping his coat around me as he spoke. We'd only met twice. Wasn't this a bit too intimate? But when I looked into Jason's clear, slightly clueless eyes, I realized I was overthinking it. I followed him into the restaurant. Maybe because Jason was too good-looking. Girls kept sneaking photos of him along the way. One bold girl even came up to me and asked, "Miss, does your little brother have a girlfriend? Can I get his WeChat?" Watching someone try to snatch the meat right off my plate, I couldn't help feeling a little jealous. Jason stepped in front of me. "No, you can't." The girl persisted. "Then what's your relationship? Are you dating?" Jason didn't answer. He turned to me instead. "Sis, what are we?" His intense gaze made me feel like a goose roasting over a fire. After a long pause, I managed to squeeze out, "Friends." The girl still wanted to ask more, but one sharp look from Jason sent her scurrying away. In the private dining room, just as we sat down, voices came from outside. I glanced at Jason. He got up and opened the door, only to find my mum and Aunt Anna pressed against the wall, my dad scowling nearby, and Uncle Tony grinning ear to ear. Jason and I just stared at each other, completely lost. I finally asked, "Dad, Mom, what are you doing here?" Before Mum could answer, Dad said gruffly, "My precious cabbage is about to be eaten by a pig, and I'm supposed to sit home unaware." My face flushed crimson. "We weren't even an item yet!" Jason stayed calm and politely invited Dad to sit at the head of the table. I'd never seen a date where the parents showed up. I was fuming inside, poking my chopsticks at random, sneaking glances at Jason now and then. Every time, he was already looking at me. My heart pounded like crazy, and I quickly looked away. Then my phone buzzed a message from Jason. "Sis, don't you like the food?" We texted quietly back and forth until I suddenly heard my name. Mum had brought up my ex. I hurried to stop her, but Aunt Anna suddenly clapped her hands. Ah, that explains why Jason suddenly came back to the country, because Belle broke up. I looked up at Jason. He came back because of me? Had we known each other before? I always said these two kids were fated. If we'd arranged a betrothal back then, they wouldn't have taken such a winding road. Mum chimed in. The happier she sounded, the darker Dad's face grew. Uncle Tony was barely holding back laughter. "Belle, do you remember? You used to hold Jason when you were little." My mum's words hit me like a jolt of electricity. "Mum, why are you bringing that up?" I wanted to dig a hole big enough to hide in. I gulped down a glass of juice to calm my nerves. But Mum kept going. "What's there to be embarrassed about? You even bathed Jason when you were a kid." My face was as red as a boiled duck. I didn't remember a thing, just felt Jason's burning gaze beside me, silently asking, "Really?" Jason wasn't embarrassed at all. "Is that true? I don't remember any of it." Uncle Tony laughed. "You were only 1 or 2. Your sister Belle snuck you into a basin of flour while we weren't home, said she was giving you a bath." Jason grinned mischievously. "Sounds like she didn't want to bathe me. She wanted to eat me." Then, right in front of everyone, he picked up a piece of foie gras and dropped it into my bowl. Dad snatched it up immediately, muttering sourly, "Tastes pretty good." Mum pinched his side and said, "They say if the woman's 3 years older, it's like holding a bar of gold." "Jason, do you want to hold some gold?" The table fell silent. I stared at my phone, too flustered to lift my head. Jason broke the silence. "Depends if the gold wants to be held." My face burned instantly. After dinner, Dad took us home, years ago, for business convenience. He'd bought our house right across from Uncle Tony's. Now he was kicking himself. "That old bastard! His brat actually dared to hit on my Belle." But all I could think about was what Jason said. Did he like me? Was he trying to pursue me? Should I play hard to get? Honestly, I enjoyed the flirting more than the idea of a relationship itself. Who could blame me? Thinking of his messages, I rolled around in bed like a silkworm. Our ambiguous, almost relationship dragged on for a long while, neither of us breaking the ice. One boring weekend, I went shopping alone, and what were the odds ran into my ex. Even though I pulled my cap low, he still saw me. Larry had Jessica on his arm and greeted me like nothing happened. "Belle, long time no see. How've you been?" I forced an awkward smile. We'd been college sweethearts, the model couple everyone envied. When marriage talks began, Larry suddenly showed up with a fiancé from an arranged match. His mother threatened suicide if he didn't marry her. In the end, she wanted me to accept being part of his harem. That's when I learned Larry's family were old money merchants with huge businesses. Apparently, I wasn't in their league. Every man in that family had multiple women, and his mother pretended not to see it. They were all political marriages anyway. Money tied everything together. I broke up fast. I wasn't about to compete in some twisted soap opera. Larry didn't want to let go. But what could he do? You can't fight your own mother's power. Truth be told, we weren't even that in love. People said we looked good together. And since our professor introduced us, I just went along with it. Looking back, maybe I ended it so easily because I never loved him enough. "I'm doing great," I said flatly. Jessica's stare was sharp as a knife, practically slicing into me. She kept tugging Larry away. "Isabel, we're getting married next month. Don't forget to come," she said, flashing her giant diamond ring. "Oh, and I'm pregnant. Don't even think about coming between us." Pregnant? Jessica was pregnant? I ignored her and said goodbye to Larry, ready to leave. Jessica wasn't done, she sneered. People like you trying to marry into a golden family. What a joke. Right, Larry? Before I could respond, a familiar voice cut in. Golden family? Where? Didn't see any phoenixes, just a bitch that won't stop barking. Jason. Wow, sis. You speak fluent dog now? He took my hand firmly. Jessica's face turned blue, then white. She looked to Larry for support, but he wouldn't even meet her eyes. What are you, some kept pretty boy? Pathetic, Jason pouted. She's talking about me, sis. The poor puppy look did me in. Add that to my grudge over her past slap. I wasn't letting this one slide. My hand flew before I even thought about it, smacking Jessica hard across the face. A bright red mark bloomed instantly, tears welling in her eyes as she looked pitifully at Larry. Jason leaned in and said, "Did that hurt your hand, sis? What breed of dog has such a hard face?" Right then, a random little poodle ran up barking at us, like it was saying, "Don't mess with me." Jason spread his hands. Well, great. She's been kicked out of the dog clan. Jessica tried to retort, but Larry dragged her away. As they left, Larry said they'd hold their wedding abroad and never come back. I stared at his back, lost in thought, completely missing Jason's sad little look. Sis, do you still like him? Would you like me instead? He asked softly, tugging at my sleeve. I turned, stood on tiptoe, and brushed a light kiss against his lips, tasting faintly of mint. Okay, I whispered. Jason froze, mumbling something incoherent. I poked his arm to bring him back. Sis, you mean you'll be my girlfriend? Yeah, I will, but I wasn't ready yet, Jason quickly added. I didn't mean that. Sis, I meant I haven't prepared the confession properly. My heart finally settled. He asked me at least 10 times if I still liked Larry, only smiling when I swore 10 times that I didn't. Even if you still liked him, that's fine, as long as there's room for me in your heart. I smiled, trying to explain. The only thing that still puzzled me was Jessica's pregnancy. We were already engaged and had done a premarital check. Larry couldn't have kids, so whose baby was it? Their circle's a mess, sis. Don't think about it, Jason said. He brushed my bangs aside and kissed my forehead gently. I looked at him and nodded. Whoever's child it was, it no longer mattered. Even though I told Jason I didn't need any grand gesture, he insisted on one anyway. I want everyone to know, he said, that I'm your boyfriend. After saying that, he ruffled my hair, and somehow I let him drag me to Moonlight Plaza. Candles burned on the ground, forming the words, "Love you." Roses were everywhere. So many, it felt like I might drown in them. Jason stood in the sea of flowers with a guitar, softly singing a love song. More and more people gathered, forming a circle around us. Holding a bouquet of roses, Jason slowly walked toward me. Isabel, will you be my girlfriend? The crowd erupted in cheers. Say yes. Say yes. Even though I knew this had all been rehearsed, I still felt a surge of emotion. I will! The moment I said it, fireworks burst across the sky. Blue fireworks painted the night. They looked strangely familiar. Before I could think, Jason pulled me into his arms. Around us came a chorus of voices chanting, "Kiss! Kiss!" Jason smiled, leaned close to my ear, and whispered, "Sis, I'm going to kiss you now." He held me tight, his kiss long and tender. My face burned crimson, my heart a mess. The crowd went wild, filming everything. By the next day, Jason's grand confession video had hit the trending charts with the headline, "Mysterious man spends millions to confess his love." I wouldn't even have known if Julia hadn't called. She told me that when I said I will, every billboard in the city flashed photos of Jason and me. I was stunned. Wasn't this a little too much? But Jason just smiled, unfazed. I wanted the whole world to know I belong to you. Sis, is that not okay? Well, it wasn't not okay. Along with the viral video, Jason's private account was also uncovered, titled The Secret Handbook of Loving My Sister. It recorded years of his quiet love for a girl named Isabel. Because of a childhood promise, he'd fallen for her and never stopped. She'd forgotten him, and he didn't dare confess. Not until she loved someone else, broke up, and he came back to win her heart. He'd secretly flown home once every year just to catch a glimpse of her. When his journal leaked, the internet exploded. The comments were full of screams. Other people's love stories are always the sweetest. My heart can't take this. Jason was thrilled and clung to me constantly. But the happiest person was my dad. I said the blue fireworks looked familiar. Turns out they were one of our company's new products. Thanks to the viral video, Dad launched a store selling the same fireworks, and sales went through the roof. Every warehouse sold out, orders pouring in, workers pulling overtime. The old man's abacus was practically smoking. If he weren't so stingy, I'd think he bought the trending spot himself. His attitude toward Jason made a full 180. He started calling Jason future son-in-law every chance he got, inviting him to dinner daily. Then he made Jason the face of our company's brand, hosting live streams to sell products. On camera, Dad grinned so hard his face nearly split. Everyone, this is our brand ambassador and my future son-in-law. The comment feed went insane. 666666! World's best man right here. Not to be outdone, Uncle Tony pulled me over to his company and made me their brand ambassador, also hosting live streams. He proudly introduced me while showing off my pictures. Everyone, this is our brand ambassador and my future daughter-in-law. The comments flooded again. Hi sis, can we get a brother-in-law with our order? Sales skyrocketed overnight. I'd officially become the internet's big sister. When Dad saw how the public was favoring the Smith family, he ground his teeth in rage. He immediately made a couples vlog for Jason and me, and uploaded it to our company's page. Uncle Tony fired back with a love story blog run by yours truly, of course. Then Dad upped the stakes, promising to live stream our entire wedding. If Aunt Anna hadn't stepped in, that circus might never have stopped. Dad insisted this wasn't just about business anymore. It was about honor, about face. And a man couldn't lose face. Once things calmed down, Jason suddenly asked if I wanted to meet his friends. I thought for a moment and said yes. As soon as we arrived, a bunch of young guys called out, "Sis!" Jason's face might have darkened, but my ego soared. How many times do I have to tell you, call her sister-in-law? Jason said possessively, pulling me into his arms, his fingers gently tracing my palm. It tickled, and I couldn't stop smiling. The guys whooped and whistled louder. Got it, brother-in-law? Yeah, bro-in-law. Next time we'll still call her sis, but we'll try to call you bro-in-law. Carlos, the one with glasses, patted Jason's shoulder meaningfully. Bro, you look kinda weak. Been at the Sect of Harmony or something. Jason's expression froze. Get lost, he growled. I blinked. What's the Sect of Harmony? Everyone just laughed. Carlos told me to check it on Baidu myself. I pulled out my phone, but Jason snatched it away. Phone confiscated. Eat first. I shot him a glare, silently demanding it back. Jason changed his tone instantly. Sis, eat first. Please. After dinner, I'll tell you. Okay? With that soft voice and that face, how could I refuse? I sat beside him. The smell of love. Someone groaned. Amid teasing, Jason got dragged into drinking rounds. When he wasn't looking, I slipped his phone from his pocket and ducked out to the restroom. One quick search later, my face was burning hot. I shouldn't have looked. I freshened my makeup and went back to the room. Jason noticed my damp hands. said nothing, and grabbed a tissue to dry them. He wiped my palms, then the backs of my hands, not stopping until they were completely dry, and even then, he didn't let go. More teasing followed until Jason threw the tissue box at his friends. "Wipe your own hands. I only wipe hers." Thanks to that bad attitude, Jason ended up drinking even more. He got drunk, leaning against me, mumbling as Carlos drove us home. The seaside apartment meant for our future honeymoon became our temporary place. Jason didn't cry or fuss, just lay quietly on the couch. I was about to make him some hangover soup when he pulled me down beside him. He rested his head against my chest, murmuring, "I don't want gold bars. I just want to hold you. I'm your puppy. I'm your repair dog." Who could stand that? And who on earth taught him to say things like that? A 6'1" man whining in my arms, it was enough to make anyone's heart race. The next morning, I woke up in the bedroom bed, but Jason was gone. I followed the sound of running water and froze. The bathroom was entirely transparent. Water beaded down his face, over his Adam's apple, chest, abs. My eyes took a full tour before my brain caught up. I stood there dumbly, swallowing hard. Jason walked toward me with a towel, covering my eyes as he wrapped his wet body around me, his breath warm at my ear. "Sis, have you seen enough?" His breath tickled my skin. "Why'd you design the bathroom like this? And you didn't even shut the door?" He chuckled, rubbing my head. "It's for you to see." Of course, his teasing made my ears burn. Feeling his heat against me, I stammered an excuse and fled to the closet to grab him clothes. "Slow down, sis. No one's gonna eat you," he teased, staring at his neatly color-coded wardrobe. I didn't know what to pick. "What color do you want? And what belt? Whatever you choose," he said. "I'll be wearing it for you anyway." What kind of line was that? I thought I might have a nosebleed. Our wedding was planned for early summer, mainly so my poor best friend wouldn't freeze to death. It was a traditional Chinese ceremony. Layer upon layer of heavy robes nearly crushed me. The crown on my head alone was worth a house, and felt just as heavy. The endless rituals lasted all day. My smile muscles were about to snap. Because Dad insisted on fulfilling his promise, the entire wedding was live-streamed. Uncle Tony also hired a crew for his own wedding commentary. 8 cameras surrounded Jason and me, and I kept my perfect 8-tooth smile for hours. The comment section exploded with blessings and virtual gifts. Dad grinned so wide it nearly reached his neck. The feed flooded with messages. "The bride's gorgeous. The groom's so handsome. Congratulations. I'm getting diabetes from all this sweetness. Kiss! Kiss!" Jason gave me a symbolic peck on the lips and whispered in my ear, "I really love you." The comment section went wild again. "We want premium content." Both companies launched new product lines during the stream, and everything sold out within hours. The fans were thrilled, but Jason and I were exhausted. The happiest ones, of course, were Dad and Uncle Tony. On our wedding day, both companies' live streams broke records. Every bit of old stock cleared out, profits overflowing. Even employee bonuses doubled. That night, Jason and I sat facing each other awkwardly. "Well, I stammered, words tripping over themselves before I finally hid under the blanket. Jason's footsteps approached slowly. My heart pounded faster and faster, like it might burst out of my chest. He reached out and pulled me into his arms, kissing my collarbone like a soft, affectionate puppy. His voice was gentle and low. "Sis, are you ready?" His gaze was so pure, so innocent. It was impossible to read his thoughts. I'm scared." "Don't be." Jason flicked my forehead lightly, his eyes full of warmth. He turned off the light, leaving only moonlight tracing his outline. Soft rustling sounds followed. After that, I don't remember much, only Jason's voice, whispering, "Sis," over and over. We were going to be happy, always, and I think we will be.